I'm going to give you a blueprint of trans voice feature acquisition and practice consisting of 6 levels. These levels are different ways of interacting with the voice, and they are increasing in complexity. So let's jump in. Level 1, single vowel. This is the most basic way of interacting with the vocal feature. It's also one of the most common starting places when it comes to demonstrating said vocal feature. If I were to demonstrate size on an ah, it would sound something like this. Oh. You can't really get less complex in demonstrating what size change sounds like than that. Some other methods of phonation that fall under this category are semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, or softies, which I plan on covering in a future video, as well as voiceless warm-ups like putting white noise to your mouth and allowing that to demonstrate your resonance change or your size change. Level 2, single word. Single word helps us adapt the principles established in single vowel and apply them to human oral dictation. This includes introducing like consonants as well as diphthongs into voice training. If you don't know what a diphthong is, it is the seamless transition between 2 or more vowels without interruption from a consonant. For example, mayor or rise. Level 3, sequence. A sequence is a group of words that commonly go in a specific order. For example, this is like counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, the days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Letters. A, B, C, D, things like that. This introduces a bit more length, complexity, some more syllables, again, just extending upon previous levels. Sequences are easy to remember, and you can typically pull them out of your pocket at any time. Unless you forget how to count. In which case, you have other problems than voice training, quite frankly. Level 4, single sentence. The sentence takes the principles of the sequence and applies general rules of syntax. While personality can be expressed in lower levels, this is where we get to explore that a lot more, especially as it relates to inflection. The Harvard sentences are a common source of sentences that people take from for practice. This is also where we find the mantra phrase. If you don't know what a mantra phrase is, have you ever heard someone say, heat from fire, fire from heat? That's the most common mantra phrase coined by Z of Trans Voice Lessons. My personal mantra phrase comes from the first line of an autobiography by one of the Beatles' sound engineers, which I was reading at the time that I started to really dive into trans voice. It goes like this. Silence, shadows in the dark, curtains rustling in the cool April breeze. I'll be sure to do a video on mantra phrases in the future, so click that follow button for that. Level 5, extended passage. This takes everything that we talked about on level 4 and again extends it to build consistency, which is the most underrated skill in voice training. Any book, article, or poem will do the trick, but the most common example of this level in trans voice is the Rainbow Passage by Grant Fairbanks. Level 6, improvisational conversation. This is the final level of voice feature acquisition and also the most complex. With improvisational conversation, consistency, personality, vocabulary, on-the-spot reaction and adaptation are fully implemented. Consoling a friend, ordering food, asking questions in class, talking to a camera for TikTok. These are all implementations of voice on this level. And here is where we find the goal. This is what we're doing voice training for. We aren't spending all this time voice training to learn how to say a single sentence or to say a single word. We're doing it so we can talk and live our everyday lives with the voice we want. Now that I've explained what each of these levels mean, I'm going to detail the applications of this model. So please comment for part 2. Let's dive a little deeper into the trans voice learning model I introduced in my last video. I call it Altamira's hierarchy of vocal acquisition. As you can see, it is roughly based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Much like Maslow's hierarchy, vocal practice exercises lower on the pyramid must be satisfied before you can see reasonable success at higher levels. For instance, you are not going to be able to perform a new vocal feature that is important in gender modification in, say, level 5 of an extended passage if you can't perform that vocal feature in level 4 in a single sentence. Now, you might have noticed that level 6, improvisational conversation, lives as a bigger triangle that surrounds the first 5 levels.
Yeah, I mean, I just kind of live outside the system, in my opinion. Like, I'm not involved in any of this, like, hierarchical bullshit, you know? I'm kind of a Sigma in that way.
In my opinion, and this is the opinion backed up by most of the teachers I look up to the most, dynamic, unscripted talking is the best way to practice vocal acquisition. So I encourage you to use level 6 all the way through your vocal journey. However, it is still the most complex way of using your voice, so it goes at the top of the pyramid. I am not saying that these are strict rules, that you cannot practice higher levels without mastery of lower ones. Definitely explore your voice in all types of different ways. This is meant to be a simple guideline to point you in the direction where you might find the most success in practice. If your practice feels too complex, try bringing it down a couple levels to its most fundamental aspects, its core essentials. Stay tuned for part 3, where we will cover what this looks like in application, as well as some common practice mistakes. Join my Patreon, sign up for lessons with me, both are in the link in my bio. Have a great day. This is the third and final part in a series explaining my trans vocal feature acquisition model. I'm using a much more masculine voice right now because I'm going to be demonstrating this model using vocal weight as an example. Level 1 is all about getting a feeling over what this vocal feature sounds like, right? And it's important to know what it sounds like, otherwise we can't have any internal reference for what we are trying to change. For vocal weight, this is going to sound something like this. The number one important thing for every vocal feature acquisition is that you do not want to introduce strain ever. That's not something we want to do. For vocal weight, we want to avoid this instability is really, really unhealthy, and it will lead to bad vibes in the future. Once you understand what vocal weight sounds like, you can start to move on to level 2, which is a single word, to sort of try to apply this to speech. We can use level 1 as a boost board, sort of like this. One, part, hello, hello, hello. We can also demonstrate the differences in weight based on this single word. Hello, 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 hello. Level 3 or sequence, we're gonna sort of apply that same concept over a larger span of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, as we go into level 3, I should mention that there are sort of single pitch and varying pitch ways of looking at this vocal concept. Keeping our pitch static will definitely help. It's going to be easier to understand weight than if we're varying our pitch. But if we start to vary our pitch, we can start to see how this is applicable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you can start to see how this would be very beneficial for voice feminization. Around level 4, we can start to introduce other vocal features. Again, these vocal features are all additive, right? So if I were to introduce size alongside weight, then we might hear something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Vary the pitch maybe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's add a higher pitch as we go up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe we can cut out the beginning single vowel altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make it a sentence now. Let's go all the way up to level 4. Silence, shadows in the dark, curtains rustling in the cool April breeze. Eventually, we can cut out the level 1 boost, maybe make it a level 2 boost. That might be more beneficial. So we go silence, 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 shadows in the dark, curtains rustling in the cool April breeze. These are the nuances, the dynamic nuances that this vocal feature acquisition model can start to provide. I want to talk a little bit about the poor methods of practice explained through this model. Most vocal exercises you find online just hover around level 1, level 2, maybe level 3 at its highest. If we're just sticking around these levels, repeating exercises over and over and over again, we're never going to be able to apply that to actual conversation. Level 5, we're going to start to apply consistency over long stretches of time, right? Here's a common problem that we run into with voice.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch with its path high above and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon. Did you see what happened there? My vocal weight increased as we went along. Demonstrating level 6 on a light vocal weight, this is what it'll sound like. Unstrained, light, static, not changing.
If you want to continue to support me, you can sign up for my waitlist or join my Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.